Hi, folks. Andrew here. Pop a quart of whiskey. I am the face who runs the place. Salute. Here we go. All right. A rare Thursday night appearance. Here we go. Popcorn and whiskey. And a lot of things going on that I wanted to bring up and just chit chat about a little bit and see how that would all work out. All right. Here. Let's get that light back off a little bit there. Shine off my bald head there. Okay. So, as this week has been progressing, a lot of things have been happening. And I'm going to, excuse me there, I'm going to put this more into segments, the show. And tonight is totally going to be totally off the cuff. Not that it's any different than other nights. But what I'm doing this evening is, hi, Mike. Michael. I don't know if you go by Michael, but hey, buddy, how you doing? Yeah, I'm going to wing it tonight, like I do every other night. But I just threw out some topics that I wanted to discuss, and I don't know what kind of in depth I can get to. Also, I have a 10-minute call line there, 765-505-7348. Feel free to call in. I think I have it set up where I will just be hearing your voice. Ooh, whoa. My word, I haven't yawned at all. It's like Pavlov's freaking dog thing. I turn his mic on after 9 o'clock and boom, I start yawning. Go figure. Well, you know what that means? It means I need a drink. There we go. All right. Okay. So, I wrote down three things. I wrote down free speech. I wrote down Hegseth, in other words, Pete Hegseth, and NASCAR. I had a lot to say about NASCAR as I was thinking about it today, but I don't remember exactly everything I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it. There's a few things about it that I wanted to bring up, and because I was watching a couple of segments with Dale Jr. interviews and things of that sort, I'm going to assume these are interviews he's done in the past. Okay, so he will certainly know an infinite more details and wisdom and knowledge about NASCAR than I ever will. I mean, I can start doing 24/7 today for the next 10 years, and I will never come close to what Dale Jr. knows about NASCAR. So I'm not going to even put myself in the same hemisphere as he is when it comes to knowledge of the sport. Okay. Michael. Yeah, to say hello and show support from Mayhem Media. Thank you, Michael. All right. I figured Michael, Michael's with my buddy JD over at Mayhem Media. If you guys are loyal or follow me, you've seen JD on here several times. Mike, I figured you guys be doing a live stream tonight or with your with Thursday Night Football. Yes, I still have the squeak going on. Sue me. All right. I figure with Thursday Night Football, you have the stuff going on there, but apparently you don't, or he doesn't let you do it. One or the other. I don't know which one it is, but hey, JD, here's JD. Let me rotate through the pages. Let me know if you want me to jump in for a few. I might just do that here in a little bit, JD. I'll let you know. But the NASCAR thing, I am a big fan of the playoff system. I like it. I know. I guess I'm in the minority according to what I've been seeing here. Can it be tweaked? Possibly. How? I don't know. I'm not looking that deep into it. Okay. And who's that? Sarah Villa. Sarah Villa. Hello, Sarah Villa over there on Twitch. How you doing? I don't look that deep into it. I am a fan of it. I like the different aspects and different dynamic it brings into the fold. Do I like the fact that the final race is only 4 cars? No, I that's one aspect I don't like about it. I don't know how to get around that. I would prefer the final race, and I'm very vocal about this one. I think the final race should be done at Darlington. Why do you say? First of all, Darlington's old school. It's the track too tough to tame, his nickname. So you have to tame the track to be the champion, right? Why not have the final race at Darlington? I can't be the only one who thinks about this. There's got to be other ones. I think they've had it at Phoenix for the last several years. I thought that was a horrible track for the final race, me personally, as a spectator. I don't like it when you got wow. Whew. I don't like when you can dive in below the line and do a cutoff there. I don't like that. And the same thing with Kansas City this past week. I don't like that as a fan. I think that's horrible. And I think it takes away from the racing ability itself. That's right, Darlington, absolutely. And that being said, I don't like the old point system that they had because no one knew what it was. You couldn't figure it out. You didn't know from week to week who got what points and for what, and it was just a pain in the ass to figure out the point system. Now, if they make it more simplified, I can see that. And the problem with making it more simplified, you don't get, you being the drivers, don't get any extra for winning the race. Maybe 1 point for leading the race, which, okay, yeah, you're 1 point ahead of everybody else, but it's not emphasis on winning. It's emphasis on consistency, which I can see both sides of the argument. But when you look at the playoff system of other sports, it's not it's not based on consistency. It's based on winning, right? You have to win to make the playoffs. Why not do it with NASCAR? To me, that just makes perfect sense. Yeah, the old school stuff people get into, want to talk about, or are traditionalists, don't like it. I get it. I do get it. But if you got some guy winning 3 races throughout the year, shouldn't he be up in the top somewhere? Let's say he wins 3 races and he gets knocked out for 3 other races, from no fault of his own. Hence, and I will bring up Jamie McMurray. Yes, in 1 year, Jamie McMurray, which I predicted this, by the way. Thank you. Won Daytona, won Indianapolis, and won the at the time Coca-Cola 600. I don't know if they still call it Coca-Cola 600. He won all 3 races that year. He did not make the playoffs. And that after that's when they started changing, because playoffs at that point were fairly new, and they brought it all with just points. He got knocked out of several races through no fault of his own. He got caught up in wrecks and crashes and stuff. And then people will say, yeah, but if he wasn't in the back, he wouldn't have. He wasn't always in the back when he got caught up in these races. So I can see the point about winning put you in. Now, the argument this year is SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen, who has run master classes to the NASCAR guys on the road courses. I mean, masterful. You can't find a better guy at road courses than he has been this year. All right. Has he won all of them? No, but he's pretty damn close to winning all of them. 3 races he won on road courses. So which puts him into the playoffs and put him high up in the playoffs. But when it comes to the ovals, not so much. All right. So he got knocked out of the playoffs in the first round. We can talk this all day long. It is what it is. They said there's going to be some tweaks to it next year. We'll see. Again, I will keep saying this. Darlington should be the final race of the year. Period. End of story. No ifs, ands, or buts. Then people say, well, what about the weather? That's part of it. All right. I'm sorry. It's part of it. But I don't know what other track you can put there. Now, if you live at certain tracks, or those are your home tracks, you're always going to say that. You can make a case for Las Vegas. You can make a case for Charlotte. By the way, the Rovals this weekend, which I love the Roval. I think the Rovals is great. I absolutely love the Roval over Charlotte. Again, I'm in the minority there, I think, as well. So we'll just see how it plays out. But right now, it is what it is. I know some people did not like the fact that Joey Logano won last year. Hey, he followed the rules. He played the system. He did what it needed to be done. I don't fault him for that whatsoever. I like Joey Logano. I think he did the right thing, and he did what needed to be done. He followed the rules that NASCAR put out, and he won a championship. There you go. Let's talk about this week now. This past week over at Kansas. Now, again, I don't like the way Kansas Speedway. You can go down below the white line. I do not like that. As a fan, I can't stand that. But that final two laps, holy moly! Bubba Wallace, you're a whiny ass pussy. That's what it is when it boils down to it. First of all, let me put it this way: Bubba can drive blindfolded better than I could ever drive with 20/20 vision. Okay, no question about that. I compared to me, he's the best driver that ever lived. Okay, no question. But when you're bitching about somebody putting you into the wall, right, 2 laps after you did it to somebody else, all right, you're a whiny butt. Cut it out. You're with the big boys. You should be racing with the big boys. First of all, I don't think you should have been up there. I think it was. Well, I won't get into it, but yeah, Robin's racing, my friend. That's the way it goes. Any old school guy would have told you that. There was nothing wrong with what happened, and quit your bitching about Denny. So what? You didn't get something handed to you for once. Oh my gosh. So we won't get into that, but yeah, it was. I thought it was that final race. I keep watching the final 2 laps over and over. The commentary out of this world was great. Absolutely loved watching on television and listening to the guys. At first, the English guy, or the guy with the English accent, whatever his name is, don't know if I liked him too much. Oh, I just remembered I was going to talk about NASCAR. Why I brought it up, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But then I watched the MRN radio, Motor Racing Network radio. If you ever listen to the races on the radio, wow, whole different level of doing it, because they have to do the theater of the mind on radio. And when you watch the radio coverage, or you listen to the radio coverage, watched with the final 2 laps live or video, whatever, whole different dynamic comes into play. You talk about the way the radio guys do NASCAR justice. They enhance it so much better than TV. Whole different ball game. Here's what I wanted to talk about with NASCAR. Okay, that's why I brought it up. I knew eventually I'd get to this. The whole thing about NASCAR losing viewers on television. And I can't be the only one that is saying this, but I'm going to say it verbally here. Well, there's 2 reasons. One, well, I don't want to say 2 reasons. The main reason is you never know where they're going to be. It's hard to find the channel or the network they're going to be on. And with so many people cutting the cable and just using streaming services nowadays, it's hard to find where it's going to be. They're not going to start, and people are not going to start buying different subscriptions just to follow NASCAR. I'm sorry, they just won't. I'm one of them. It is difficult for me to figure out which station is on from week to week. Get it on one channel, one package, and leave it there, for crying out loud. Fox, NBC, USA, Peacock, whatever. Just do it on one station and get it and be done with it. I hate to hunt and peck each week or have to go online, all right, where they're covering this week. It sucks. Cut it out. NASCAR, get your act together. Yeah, I get it. All these places want to give you $1 gazillion for being there. I get it. But once that happens, don't be bitching about you don't get enough viewership. Stick on one station, all right? One of those kind of things. And then when you had it streaming on whatever, Amazon for a couple of times, or Netflix, whatever the heck you had it on. Guys, give us a break, all right? That's the hardest thing. Yeah, and NFL. Well, I don't follow NFL too much. I can really care less. WWE, they're doing the same things, piss me off. But at least WWE, you know where they're going. They've been saying they're going to be on ESPN Ultraverse, whatever the hell it's called. All right. This past week, or the past PLE on WWE, all these acronyms we're throwing out here. WWE, if you don't know, is World Wrestling Entertainment, professional wrestling, and PLE stands for Premium Live Events. It used to be the pay-per-view, PPV, the pay-per-views. You know, it's funny. People call it PLE. They don't say Premium Live Event, but they also don't say PPV. They say pay-per-views. PPV, pay-per-views. It's easier to say pay-per-views than PPE. And PLE is easier to say than Premium Live Events. Go figure. Same thing with when somebody says www dot whatever, and instead of saying World Wide Web, I guess World Wide Web would be easier to say. I don't know. One of those two things. Wait a second. I just got something. Anyway, so NASCAR, get your shit together, will you please? Get on one station, or at least do like you used to do. Half the station, half the year on NBC, the other half on Fox. All right, at least do that. Make it easier for us. Do something. Okay. Boy, I got a sneeze coming on, but it's on the verge of sneezing, but it's not sneezing. Okay. I'll sneeze one of these seconds here. Okay, so NASCAR, get with the program. All right. I might cut that out and put that on somewhere and see if people will start sharing that for me. Hey, that's something. All right. Let's talk about Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War. Absolutely loved his speech the other day in front of all the big brass and all the military. I have yet to talk to a military person who did not like it. I have yet to talk to one. Are there military personnel out there who disliked it? I think they disliked the only reason they disliked it is because it was Pete Hegseth doing it. Is it Pete Hegseth or Pete Hegseth? I don't know which one it is. Anyway, the only ones who didn't like it were the ones who did not like him or they don't like President Trump. And again, I will state this. It's President Trump. It's not Mr. Trump. It's President Trump. I said the same thing with President Biden. It's not Mr. Biden. It's President Biden. Whether you like it or not, agree with how they got put in office, don't agree with it, whatever, they get the moniker of president. Period. End of story in my book. And yes, I do correct people on both sides of the aisle who say it wrong. It is not Mr. It's president. Period. End of story. Okay, enough of that rant. But I absolutely loved it when Pete Hegseth got up there and called them the fat generals or fat military folks. I loved it. I thought it was great. I have never been ashamed to use the word fat in front of people. I mean, I don't walk up to somebody and say, hey, you're fat. All right. But on this podcast that I do, this one and also my Top Fitness Strategies one, yes, I say people are fat out there. They are. You don't believe me? Look, walk around and see. Go to any beach in the USA. Well, maybe not any beach, because probably if you go to South Beach, you're not going to find too many in Miami. But you go to any New York beach, a lot of the beaches. I used to live in Inglewood, Florida. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of fatness out there. Absolutely. A lot of gooey stuff happening, and it's just not attractive. Compare that to 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. There is something going on in this country that people are getting hugely overweight. And if that offends you, you listen to this and that offends you, get over it. Either own up to it. I do. I am not in the best physical shape as I can be. You're right. I'm not. So I understand that. And I don't say I am. Even though I am a personal trainer, I do not say I am in the great best shape out there. I can afford to lose 20, 30 pounds easy. Absolutely. I'll freely admit it. Do I call myself fat? To an extent. I might not look as James Bond coming out of the water, as I say quite a bit, I may not look like that, but I'll compare my blood work, my interior, my vital signs, as I call them, against anybody my age out there. I will absolutely do that, no question about it. Can people my age run farther than me? Yep. Can they lift more than me? Yep. Can they do more than me physically? Yep. But I bet I'm in the upper 80 to 90 percentile of weight wise, and that's not a bragging thing. It's just because that's what I do. If I ran marathons, I would say that as well. I'd say I'm in the upper 70, 80, 90% of my age bracket. Okay. So going back to what Pete Hegseth had to say, calling people fat and out of shape. Looked around the room, they were. Absolutely. It is embarrassing, and I've said this for a long time, for active military. No, the key word for me is active military. If you're retired, different story. Active military needs to be in shape. I saw a video today, and I wish I could play it here, but I don't have the guy's permission, and I don't have a step to do so. Is our military, the military of the United States, the U.S. military. That's what I'm talking about. If you're from another country watching this, God bless you. You do you, bro. You do you, boo. How's I say? You do you, boo. And whatever your country does. But when it comes to our country, United States of America, we want our military to be in combat ready shape at all times. Yes, it's that simple. Oh, Andrew, it's easy for you to say it. Yeah, you're right. It is easy for me to say it. I'm also not a 25-year-old, 30-year-old in the military. I'm not that. When I was 25, 30 years old, if I was in a position where I needed to be in quote-unquote combat ready shape, you bet your ass I would have been. If that was my job, especially, if I volunteered to do it and I was getting paid for it, yeah, that's part of your job. As the guy I watched today said, we signed an oath. We being the military folks sign an oath to protect and serve the country, right? Which means you got to be combat ready at any time. You don't get to pick and choose. Well, I'll get ready for combat in 6 months. No, if something breaks out, then they need you today to be on that front line or do whatever you need to do. Guess what? You need to be combat ready, whatever that means in your particular job. Be combat ready. If that means losing the 20 pounds, great. If that means doing the 20 pull-ups, learn to do them. Do the 20 pull-ups. Okay? Whatever it means to do it. That means you're combat ready. It's not that difficult, folks. It really isn't that difficult. That difficult to understand, I should say. It might be difficult. It might be difficult for some people to do, but if you're in the military, you know that is expected of you, right? Y'all went through basic training, boot camp, whatever they call it nowadays. Some people went through it a long time ago. Some people didn't. But whatever it is, it is. And so I had zero problem. Matter of fact, I stood up and applauded. I'm not a former military, never was. Wish I would have. Going back in time, if I were to do it again, even though as much as I love St. Joseph's College, go Pumas. There you go. Much as I love St. Joseph's College, I would have probably went to the military if I do it all again for several reasons, what I'm not going to get into now. But some of my best friends, military, and I haven't talked to him physically, but just a message back and forth. He absolutely loves it. He's retired military. So, but let's see. JD, my mom and dad both served in the Navy. They served in Panama. I don't remember which war it was going on while they served, but it was during wartime. Thank you for your mom. Thank you for your dad for the service that they did. Appreciate that. I'd be curious, JD, what did they have to say? Assuming that they're still around, assuming that you're still with them in some capacity, what were their thoughts on Hegseth? Or you coming from a military family, what was your thoughts on what Hegseth had to say? Again, I thought it was great, and I love what the President Trump, the follow-up he had with it. I love what he said. or I forgot how he phrased it, or even Hegseth said, you know what? Want to leave, leave. At this point, absolutely leave, leave. Go for it. That's the way it should be, right? Okay. So enough of that. Free speech. The third topic I want to hit on tonight. Free speech. I have a friend of mine who posted something today, and I'm not going to mention her name, but if she's watching, listening, she's more than welcome to call in. You know who you are when I say this. JD, my dad's no longer here. Sorry to hear that. He passed a few years ago. So did mine. I understand. I don't know if my mom saw it, but I think it was great. My parents raised me as a patriot. Absolutely, JD. It was beyond great. And anybody who says it wasn't, I think they got a screw loose in their head. It's just that simple. And if you didn't think it was great, I'd love for you to call in and let me know what your thoughts were and why you didn't think it was good. Okay, but all right. So free speech. So a friend of mine today posted this, that they are now, or she is now going to be giving on a monthly basis, going to be giving some sort of money to NPR, National Public Radio. Great, fantastic. Because her reasoning being was she did not want the government to control what she can or cannot listen to. First of all, the government is not controlling that. You are free to listen to whatever you want to listen to. NPR is free to broadcast whatever they want to broadcast. There are thousands and thousands of radio stations all across the land who have to go out and get funding to have their organization or programming or agenda or however you want to phrase it. They have to get their advertising. They have to get the money. They have to get the funding to put their stuff online or on air, I should say, right? Okay. So why should NPR get public funding? Why should NPR get funding from the government to do so? So the government is not controlling what you can or cannot hear. They are not. NPR controls that. The government gives NPR a license to broadcast. Hey, you want to broadcast? Go for it, man. That's up to you. What you find the funding for, it's up to you. We are not stopping you from being on air. Your laziness is stopping you from being on air. JD, the Boiling Point podcast, educating, entertaining, and informing since 2020. All right, way to go, JD. So yeah, NPR. I'm telling you what. Yeah, you know what? Hey, JD, here's what I'm going to do, buddy. I am going to send you a link. I want you to come on with me so we can banter back and forth about this one. All right, and let's make it a deal right now. Let's not get off on topics of wrestling or stuff like that. That's for another time. Let's talk about free speech in the military. All right. So let me gonna send you a link. Check your messages, buddy. And all right, a second here. All right, folks, while you're here, we're playing the at-home version. Here we go. Do this. Don't worry, we'll be here to entertain you more. Relax, calm down. Here we go. JD comes on there. I'll stop that part there. Okay. My buddy JD should be coming on anytime now. And we will come on here. When he's on. There he is. Look at that. Uh-oh. Wait a second, JD. Uh-oh. Where'd he go? Hold up here. Are you there? There you are.
Okay. I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. The background I have is weird. So I'm still trying to figure everything out because I changed the background while you're here. So we'll do this and we come over here.
I just was doing this in our StreamYard. You need to just set up a couple of layouts with some different backgrounds.
I did, but the background was different. So when I have different layouts set out, but I have to change the background with the layouts, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm still, so there we go. Okay. Anyway. All right. So thanks for coming on here, JD. He is the brainchild behind Mayhem Media and the Boiling Point podcast. He is the main dude behind that stuff. And I don't know if you saw it earlier, but I had your boy. Is he go by Michael or Mike Weldon?
You can call him either. His name on Facebook is Michael, but we all call him Mike.
Okay, all right. I figured you guys would be doing your live stream watch along with the NFL tonight. That's what I figured.
Yeah, no, I had a very long day of running around, and I had my nephew most of the afternoon into the evening as well. So there was no time to. I didn't even turn it on until the beginning of the second quarter, actually.
How old is your nephew?
10.
Okay, have him come on TV with you. That's what I do with my little nephew. Well, she's only 3, but I have her come on. Do live stream. Yeah.
He's only been on a few episodes. You can see him in the background occasionally. Only once in a while does he actually like come up to me when I'm shooting or something, and I have him on camera. If I give
just do a quick 5-minute thing, just you and him sometime. Just come on like I do with my little niece.
Yeah, I want to do that, but I gotta wait for his parents to okay it.
Okay, all right.
You know how that is.
I don't ask them. I don't ask the parents. I just put them on.
I love that. That's what I should do.
I just put my little niece on, and if her parents don't like it, oh well.
I should just do it. I should just do the same thing.
All right. So, Pete Hegseth, you loved the speech the other day.
Yeah, it was a good speech. I think it's exactly more of what this country needs.
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, he was spot on with everything he said. And from what I understand, he did not use any teleprompters either, from what I understand.
Oh, yeah?
That's what I heard. And other people saying, well, he had to use teleprompter. He wouldn't remember all that stuff. He's not smart enough. I'm like, well, that's what people are saying. Well, what do you mean he's not smart enough? Why?
Yeah.
He's dynamic. He's a great speaker. Obviously, he knocked it out of the park with that one. And there are some people out there, because their hatred for Trump, they have there was a TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, goes so far that they refuse to give any accolades at all over there. All right.
Yeah.
Which was kind of pissing me off. But anyway, so you your parents both served. Thank you for that. Thank you for it. So and you haven't talked to your mom about that, about his speech?
No. Like I said, today I've been so busy and stuff, and she goes to bed early, so she's in fact sleeping right now. So I'll probably talk to her tomorrow or sometime this weekend about it. But I didn't get a chance to ask her about it. But I thought it was great. And even if I don't know if my mom would agree or not, because now that she's a little older, she's a little softer than she used to be in her youth. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if she would, but I know in her prime she would have completely agreed with it. That's how I was raised. That's we were raised that way. We were raised with discipline, both administrative discipline and the grounding kind where you lose video games or TV or whatever. I experienced both types of punishment when I was in trouble. So I can't say that one is worse or better than the other as a kid. I think they're both needed. There was times where I absolutely needed my butt smacked to get my attention.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think it's time, time for some tough love. Absolutely.
That's my thing. I don't mind a tough love, especially for our military. As I said earlier, and I heard this from something I watched today. The guy said, you join the military and you have to be combat ready at all times while you are enlisted. While you're enlisted, you have to be combat ready.
Yeah.
And it made perfect sense to me. Like he's right. You got to be combat ready.
Yeah.
Whatever that means for your particular job. I don't know. Of course, everybody's job is differently. I would assume an infantryman is different than a guy who's a pencil pusher, with a lack of a term.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing, though. But the military, the whole point of serving and being in uniform and having a rank, or being whether it's a non-commissioned officer or a commissioned officer, it's universally you go through the same basic training, right?
Yes.
That's if you can't pass that basic training at any point in time during your stay in the military, even if your job is in the desk. I don't care if you got the headset on and you're one of the radar operators and you're one of the radio people. Combat ready means you need to be combat ready, because if the situation happens, you've gone through basic training. You understand. I don't care if you're going and you make the bullets. I don't care if you're the bullet specialist. Mm-hmm. You signed on to serve your country. If your country needs you to hold a weapon and stand point, then you need to be ready to do that. That's the whole point of signing up for the military, is you're ready to defend this country if you have to.
That makes perfect sense. See, I never looked at it that way either, but you're exactly right. Because my thought process, and again, not coming from any kind of military background, military family, unfortunately. My parents both came from Europe. They weren't here during when they're no, I'm not going to get into it. But and I've also said if I were to do it again, I would have definitely joined the military in some branch, some way, shape, or form. So I did not know understand what you said. It made perfect sense. My thing was, okay, if you're a pencil pusher or a paper pusher, as my buddy calls it, retired Army, by the way. Thank you, Kenny, my buddy. Call it a paper pusher. But like you just said, everyone they have to go through the same training. Why not? If you have to do 20 pull-ups, you should be in a position where you could be doing 20 pull-ups.
Absolutely.
Period. End of story. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my mom went through basic training even before the double standards for women. She went through at equal level.
Right.
So she didn't even get to like any of the special benefits that they had, for the women during a period of time with the military.
Now, if I understand the way Hegseth was talking the other night, the difference between the women and the men, even though there won't be they said for combat. He kept saying for combat. Now, for non-combat, again, and I'm going to use the term paper pushers because my buddy uses that term.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a difference between the standards for women versus men. I don't know. I would assume they are. And I should reach out to some of my friends who are female, served in the Army or served in the military somewhere, and ask them. So I don't know how that works. Honestly, I just don't. And I haven't seen anybody say one way or the other if their standards for females are different than men. I don't know.
If I'm not mistaken, and anybody please can, this is not like facts. Please don't take this as fact. Look it up for yourselves. But if I'm not mistaken, I think at one point in time, there was a double standard for women and men in the military, even for combat situations. Have you ever seen the movie G.I. Jane?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's actually it's not based on a true story, but it's based on events that did happen. She did play a person who actually did want to go through the training, the Navy SEAL training without a double standard and all that. It's not based on a true story. They didn't, because they changed a lot of stuff. So it's based on true events. That's the difference for anybody who's listening. When you watch a movie that's based on true events, as opposed to one that's based on a true story.
Okay.
True events means that they took the events from someone that did this and changed a bunch of stuff so much that it's no longer based on the actual story. It's just based on events that happened.
Oh.
So, but I'm pretty sure it was sometime, that's when it got changed. That's what that movie is. It's about them changing it back and just having it universally. I'm not sure of the time frames though. That's my thing. I don't remember what year it was or when it was changed. That I don't know.
Okay. Which makes sense. So, yeah, that being said,
and I wish, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there,
no,
but
that's
in
fine.
reference to what you said about the paper pushers, if they didn't have to have the same basic training, the same kind of level of skill, universally, then I would have been able to. You can't tell me that you put a joystick in my. I play video games all the time. You put a joystick in my hand, I will put some of these people who sit in a room with their joystick and fly those UAVs to shame. I will do things they've never seen in a UAV. Okay, so you know what I mean. If that's the case, if that's the bar, then that has to be the bar. Well, I don't like it because I wasn't able to serve at all.
Okay,
but that's also why I'm doing what I do now. And for anybody who can't serve the military, there are other ways to serve your country besides just going in the military.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
You could serve on a public, you could run for office, and it doesn't have to be president or Senate or congressman. There are several local elected positions that actually need people to be running and filling them. So there are other ways to serve your country besides being in the military. And that's kind of how I looked at it. Like I'm not able to serve my country in uniform because of these rules and regulations, which are there to keep everybody at a level where you can defend the country. That's why they
I
go
agree
through this
with you.
process.
I agree with you to an extent. And here's where I think you and I might have a difference of not of opinion, but different of philosophy here. Yes, everybody has to go through basic. I get that. The skills at basic are taught for the basic training. After basic training, then if you have somebody who's going to be an infantryman versus somebody who's going to be, we'll just keep the paper pusher, their skills are going to be different physically and mentally.
True.
So just because the infantry guy can run a 4-minute mile does not mean that the paper pusher should be able to run a 4-minute mile.
And I agree with that, what you're saying, and that I think there should be a separation between, like, military should be combat. It should be combat. The dangerous stuff that should be military. For other
Right.
stuff, like the people who are running the radios and the people who are flying the
Mm-hmm.
UAVs in a room, or as you say, the paper pushers, I think that should be something different. My opinion is that you should kind of separate that a little bit, because I think, as you were saying, like, they're missing out. They're likely missing out on people, especially with technology. People like me who might excel over
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's actually there now doing it.
Right.
So I do think, but I also think that you can't lower the bar just to have, you know what I mean? Like, I understand the military is beyond just combat now. It's a lot of technology, and I
Right.
get,
Right.
and I understand all of that. But if you want a military, if the military means that you can be called upon to defend the country, then there has to be some kind of universal. You have to be able to do that at all time. If you hold a position, you have to be able to pick up that rifle and run that 4-minute mile in full gear and pack, if that's what it requires. So I think if you
I
want
get
to
it.
change
Yep.
something like that, I think you maybe kind of separate, maybe you kind of take those away from the military jobs. Not saying that people in the military can't have those jobs,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe separate it a little bit, where you don't require people to go through that basic training. You won't ask them to hold a weapon and defend the country the way you do other people who go through basic training.
Right. 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 I get what you're saying. I think we're going to agree on this one, though. Anybody who's in a position where they can are physically active, and I bring that up because you said several times now that you're not able to be physically active
Yep.
because your situation, which I get.
Yeah.
Mentally, you can compete with anybody out there.
Oh yeah.
And I know that.
Yeah.
Physically, maybe not so much, but anybody in the military who is able to do physical activity should be in a position where they should be in some sort of decent shape. They should
Yeah.
not be fat and sassy behind a desk. Absolutely
No.
not. No way. They should not be that way.
No, there should be you shouldn't be overweight in the military,
No.
by more than maybe 5 or 10 pounds, during a vacation. Like,
But that also
you have
depends
to be ready
on
to go all the time.
what scale you go by. Somebody with a lot more muscle like myself, I have more muscle than the average person my age, and that's not a bragging thing. It's just part of what I do.
Yeah.
My weight, yeah, can I lose 10, 20, 30 pounds? Absolutely. But the muscle that I have makes it so my weight is, even if I
Oh
had
yeah.
like 5% body fat, I would still be over the limit from the standards that the government puts out for obesity at my height and my
Yeah.
age,
See, I
even
don't
if
like
I
body
hardly
mass.
had any body fat because I have muscle. And again, it's not a bragging thing. It's just
No,
what I do. Yeah.
the BMI, yeah, the BMI, the body mass index. I'm not really a
That's what I was
fan.
looking for.
Yeah,
BMI.
yeah, the
Exactly.
body mass index. I'm not really a fan of that. I think that's somebody who came up with this using an algorithm or a formula.
Right.
So I don't think that that's right. I think, listen, how much talk is there about how everybody in the world is unique?
Yeah.
Everybody's an individual. But when we start talking about the government levels, everybody's treated the same.
Yep.
I think that's the biggest disconnect right now between government and the people, um, of the country, is that the government thinks we need one thing universally, whereas we don't. What we need is to go back to more local government. We need less federal government and we need more local government. We need more people to get into local government and just get the federal government out of everything. Let each community and each person decide what is best for themselves a little bit more, maybe.
Which is what's happening right now because the stupid Democrats aren't playing.
But no, yeah, but they're doing it. No, they're saying, oh, let's accept you no matter who you are. I'm not saying that if you apply for a job and you're 650 pounds and you're a woman dressed like a man, that I'm going to hire you and I should have to hire you. That's different. There's decide what's best for you, but understand that when you go out into the world, they don't believe what you believe. If you want to exist in the world, you have to be able. You do have there does have to be, I guess, some kind of conformity, right? Like if you want to exist out there in the world, then you have to present yourself reasonably. When you go to a job interview, you're not wearing a tank top and shorts and flip flops, and if you are, you're not likely not getting that job. So you do have to present yourself in public in a way. You do have to present yourself in a certain way. Yeah.
And that's what the class I was teaching at the high school was basically about jobs. I was telling the kids the same way. I said, if you want to go into an interview, like you just said, wearing shorts and a tank top, go for it. You're not going to get the job. So, and I don't care if you say, well, that's not me, that's not my personality. The world doesn't give a crap about what your personality is.
Yeah.
Outside, you might be coddled in the high school, but in my class, I'm not going to coddle you. I'm going to tell you like it is. Whether you believe me or not, that's totally up to you. But don't be bitching and complaining and crying if you don't get a job because I just wanted to be me. Sorry, they don't want you to be you. They want you to be what they want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I completely agree with that. I think that needs to happen more in high school. I think more of high school needs to be. I think by the time you get to high school, you should know whatever you need to know out of textbooks. That's my opinion on school. I'm sorry. I went through elementary school and middle school, and all I did in high school was learn the same exact stuff that I had already learned in elementary school and middle school.
But here's the problem, though.
How many times do I need to learn about World War II before I know everything about it, right?
Oh,
so
I agree.
I think high school needs to be more about life management. People should be teaching kids how to manage checkbooks, how to manage their finances.
Oh, absolutely.
How to make car payments, how to go out and get a job, responsibility. That's what high school should be about.
And that's what my class was, which I'm not going to, that's a whole different, we'll get into that another time. But all right. Okay. All that being said, because we're getting off topic here, I want to talk about free speech, more so the Jimmy Kimmel crap a few weeks ago and now the NPR crap. And I don't know if you heard me say it earlier or not, and I'll just rephrase this for the people who are watching now. I have a friend, and if she is listening, she's more than welcome to come on here. I'm not going to mention your name, but my nickname for you is TD, and that's not her initials or anything, but she'll know what that means if she hears it. But chances are she's not listening. I invited her on several times, maybe in the future. She made a post today that she's going to start contributing to NPR on a monthly basis. I think she said she has it automatically withdrawn or whatever, because she does not want the government controlling what she can or cannot listen to.
Yeah.
And I was going to write this on there. I said, I don't want to start this debate, whatever. But the government is not telling you cannot or should not listen to NPR. NPR is deciding whether they want to be on live or not. Simple as that. Because until now, they've always gotten public funding. Me and you and everybody else is paying for NPR, which I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay for NPR. All these other radio stations have to go out and get their own funding, their own financing, and then they could be broadcasting on air. The government gives them the license to be broadcasting on air. NPR has a license to broadcast whatever they want to broadcast on air. It should be up to them to get their own funding to do so. If they are that focused on giving their message, their agenda, their curriculum, their programming out to the public, find your funding.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more simple that is. The government should not pay you to put that stuff on the air. And I'm not just talking NPR, any radio station. If NPR gets the funding, how come WPFR or WZZK or whatever doesn't get the funding? Everyone should get funding, or no one should get funding. Simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, NPR, not yeah, I love that now at this point. Is there like I can't believe that the government actually gives them money. I wish give me some of that money.
Yeah,
I'm public radio,
yeah,
so
yeah,
so are you. Well, let's write Andrew a check as well. He's public radio.
yeah.
So like that's what I'm saying. Like aren't we beyond that now where the government needs to fund that with the internet and streaming? Aren't
Hmm.
we beyond it? You could find whatever you want. You can find anybody that's saying the exact same thing as you. There's anybody with a phone as a content producer now. The
Pretty much.
government
Yep.
licensed things to go on TV, which people don't even watch anymore. That's
Yep.
starting to
Yep.
go away.
Yep.
So, the government has less control over speech than they ever have in their entire life. That's why they're so scared.
Yep. Now, do I hate NPR? No. There used to be some programs. There was a show called Car Talk throughout the 80s and 90s, which I absolutely loved in the 2000s. Loved Car Talk. Unfortunately, the one of the brothers has passed away, so they call him Click It Clack on there. There's a show, and I don't know if it's still on anymore, called Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. It was a fun show to listen to, especially if you're driving around. Those are two great shows to listen to. I don't know if either one of them are still on anymore. I haven't listened to NPR for the longest time. But outside of that, were there shows that were fun to listen to? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. For me, they were. I liked them. Should they have gone out and got their own funding, advertisers? Yeah, just like anybody else. You want to keep your show going, get advertisers, or do it self like you and I do. Do I have advertisers right now? No. I don't know if your shows, Media Mayhem or Boiling Point, I don't know if you have advertisers or not. But
Not
if you
yet.
don't, you're funding your own stuff,
Yes,
right?
we are. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100% funded by me and the other people that are, some of the people that are working with me that help run it and stuff. We fund it out of our own pocket. We are looking for sponsorships.
Well, of course, we
Though.
all we
So,
all are. But then the argument or the debate will come up. I don't like to use the word argument because I think that's more um, butting heads. The debate will come up. Well, if you had more listeners, maybe you get more funding. You're right. NPR has a gazillion more listeners than I do. Why don't they get their own funding then?
yes,
It's just that
exactly.
simple. They can get advertising. I'm sure Joe's Jiffy Oil change down the block will want to advertise somewhere, for the right prices. I'm sure. Why not ask him? Why not ask your local mom and pop grocery store? Hey, when you advertise on my show radio, get an advertising team and go get the funds like any other radio station does. I don't know how else to phrase it. It's that simple.
Yes,
Right?
that's called free market. That's called capitalism and free market. You're free to go out there and start anything you want to start. But if you can't afford it out of your own pocket and you need someone else's support, you got to go find that support or
Right.
that help, whether
And
it's sponsorships or investors or
the
what have
government is not telling you what you can and what you cannot listen to. The government does not do that. They cannot do that. It is against the law.
you. Yes. And even first of all, I'd also like to point out that NPR, PBS, they're all subsidized by the government. They're
Yes.
going to be the first channels to tell you what they want. What they're going to be the first ones to tell you what the government wants you to hear. They
Yes.
receive a big date without the government check. They don't run. There is nothing in there. The only show from PBS that would exist today would be likely Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Uh,
On
they,
television, right? PBS,
yeah,
right, right,
the,
right.
the children's television the children's television workshop owns Sesame Street. They make
Okay.
over 80 so $1 million a year in
Hmm.
Big Bird and all their merchandising and everything. They don't have to pay 1 cent towards their broadcasting. It's all subsidized.
Yeah, but the government still pays all that. They
Yeah.
pay a lot of it. And
Yep.
if the news on those stations weren't slanted to the progressive side like they are, I mean, we're not talking a little bit of a tilt. We're talking major
No,
slant.
that's what I'm saying. Like you think the places that receive the government money are the first places that are going to tell you what the government wants you to hear.
Hmm.
Because without that, that's what I love about that. NPR is real people. No, no, no. It might some real people, maybe, but the organization that runs NPR is receiving a government check, and they're going to skew it so that they can keep receiving that government check.
And that's why, because they, how do I want to phrase this? Because they are, the current government that we have, and we're talking strictly United States, folks. If you're listening for other places, we're talking strictly United States. Because our government right now, in my opinion, is more common sense. They're not left or not right. They're just common sense. The people on the far left don't like it, and so they're going to always bash the government, even if the government is giving them money. That's why the government says, you know what? We're sick and tired of giving you money if you're just going to keep bashing us. Do some common sense. So guess what? We're taking the money away from you. Good.
Yeah, and they're also using a scare tactic by trying to spreading incorrect information in a slanderous way, saying that Trump is going to, if you put it in a blanket, like, oh, Trump's going to remove 20 million people from food stamps. Yeah. Those are people who don't deserve the food stamps. Like I'm in a wheelchair. You can tell from the picture.
Yes.
And if you can't, and if you're just listening, then guess what? I'm in a wheelchair. If you haven't figured that out, that's why I couldn't serve in the military.
Okay.
But that's like, they're not cutting me off, is what I'm trying to say. That,
right.
People have hit me up like, oh, how can you be for Trump? He's cutting your food stamps off. No, he's not actually cutting any of my services at all. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm going to be completely fine. So thank you for your concern, but these are the facts. And now that you're educated, I hope will have less worry.
Yeah.
Because the people are, so many people, even other handicapped people, other disabled people that I'm friends with, their pages on my pages.
Right.
And they're like, oh, this regime is removing 40 million people. I'm like, I comment, I'm like, no, he is removing these 40 million people. Those are people who are well enough to go get jobs and should be going to get jobs. They're not cutting your services. They're not cutting my services. They're not cutting the services to the people who need it. They're cutting services to the people who should go out there and get a job.
Right. That's basically all that's what it boils down to. It's just that the people who are eligible or in a position where they can function, they can't get a job. I guess function not the right word, but they can't go out and physically get a job. Those are the ones who are being cut off.
Yeah. Yeah. People trying to cheat the system. Those are the ones who are being cut off. That's how it's supposed to be. It shouldn't be a free ride just because you have 3 kids and you didn't want to marry the father, or you have 5 kids to 4 different guys, or you just don't feel like going out and work and you don't have any kids and you just want the government to give you a check. That's not how it works. I receive Social Security for my disability. Now, let me tell you something about this, and you might be interested to hear this and know this actually. I received Social Security disability. Okay. I didn't receive Social Security disability. I didn't qualify with my disability. The only thing I qualified for was SSI, which is basically welfare. Okay. I didn't qualify for Social Security disability until I earned enough tax credits to qualify for Social Security disability. I had to work and earn enough tax credits before I qualified for Social Security disability.
Okay. So how do you earn a tax credit?
It's like basically how much money, like, every time you pay taxes, like when you pay taxes out of your check and stuff. It's not like an official credit. I just use that term.
Okay. So
until I had paid enough in taxes, I didn't qualify for Social Security disability.
So do you have to do that every year or
no? No. Now that I'm qualified, because I have Social Security disability, I have a non-progressive, meaning that it won't get any worse, but it's also not going to get any better. So
don't tell me any figures, but your income level, your SSI, Social Security, will stay a constant throughout your life every month.
Yes, I get cost of living raises each year, and actually, get this. If I go back to work, let's say I went back to work for a year. And the reason I don't work is because I can't find anybody who will actually, hire me. But I have work and I have capabilities to work. So if I could find a job and went back to work for a year, and then for whatever reason maybe lost that job or had to go back on the Social Security disability, I would likely get more because I've paid more in taxes into it.
Okay,
My
so,
mom and I get
okay, say that again. Say that again. Say that
all right,
again.
so my mom and I we have the same program. We both get Social Security disability.
Okay.
She makes far more than I do because she's paid far more in taxes than I have.
Okay.
She
Okay.
worked her whole life.
Right.
So she gets a much bigger check than I do because she's paid way more in taxes than I have. But we have the same exact program. We qualify for Social Security disability.
Okay. So your increase every year is basically cost of living increase or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever they being the government, whatever they dub cost of living increase
Yeah. Yeah. The largest one I think I received was $30
for the whole year or per month.
each month. $30
Okay.
added to each check. That's the most. Most of them
Okay.
have been between 3 and 15.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this, and again, if you don't want to answer, don't answer it. None of my business. I'm because it's is
Yeah.
fascinating to me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It could be because I'm not getting into my current position or anything else, but I've been looking at a lot of remote type jobs. Are
Yeah.
you? I would assume because of your technology skills, you can do remote type jobs, right?
I could. The problem that I've found with that is finding one that's legitimate. Finding
Okay.
one that will actually pay you to do like a certain work. Like most of the ones that I have found, they want you to buy something first and then learn
Okay.
how to do this, and it'll earn you money this way. I actually haven't found any legitimate work from home opportunities where I could actually do something and then get paid for it.
No, work. I'm not talking work from home. I'm talking remote work. Those are two different things. You and I will
Oh,
have to,
okay.
we'll have to talk off air because I don't want to
All
bring
right.
this on air.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
talk
because
off
I'm
air and
not. Yeah,
everything.
I assumed you meant what remote work would be the same thing as like
No,
work from home, kind of. So,
matter of fact, I tell you what. Since this is over an hour, and I just want to go for an hour, and I'm going to wrap this up, and you and I will stay on here. We'll chit chat a little bit.
all right,
But
cool. Yeah, I'll stay in.
but yeah, because right now it's 10 o'clock my time, and it's already past my bedtime. By the way. Because I get up so early and I work out. So there you go. But anyway, folks, thanks for being here. Popcorn and Whiskey. I'm with my good buddy JD, the Boiling Point podcast, Mayhem Media. Go check them out. If you don't know who they are, they're always on my pages. We link to each other. So check them out. Go find them. One of those kind of things. But thanks for being here. We will come again soon. I don't know if I'll be on this weekend or not. I got people from out of town. Long story short, I won't get into it. But hey, this has been great. JD, thanks for being on here. And we'll just stick
Yeah,
around. We're
absolutely.
going to talk after off air, but anything. Anyway,
Absolutely.
but all right, folks, I'll stop it here. Until next time, this is me. This is JD. Until next time, ciao.